One night the Reverend told me to follow him to a special gathering. I was hesitant, but I didn't dare to disobey him. He took me to a hidden underground place, a dark and cold space beneath the church. It was nothing like the holy and peaceful church I thought I knew. Candles lit in the rooms, and a lot of church leaders were around. Hello, viewers. Welcome once again to another educative episode of African Confessions HD, right here on Extra on Africa. My name is Solution Uncle. If you're still new, in this show we publish lifetime confessions. Usually we publish anonymously for their own safety reasons. Today we have this special must-watch confession. A boy who is pregnant. Everyone is shocked. Let's dive straight into the confession. I was born 18 years ago into a world that seemed to reject me from the start. My parents passed away when I was very young and ended up with no one to guide me. I ended up on the streets. Life as a street kid was hard. Every day was a battle, searching for food, avoiding danger, and fighting off the constant fear of being harmed. The streets were cruel, but I found ways to survive, even though they left scars on my heart. One day, when I thought things couldn't get worse, they changed. A Roman Catholic father found me wandering the streets. He looked kind, with his warm smile and reassuring words. He told me he wanted to help me, to give me a home and save me from the hardness of life outside. I was hesitant at first. I'd learned not to trust people easily, but hunger and hopelessness left me with no choice. I went with him, thinking I'd found a second chance at life. At first, things seemed to be better. I had a roof over my head, food to eat, and clothes to wear. The father took care of me, and for the first time in years, I felt safe, and at least I thought I was. I didn't realize that I was stepping into a new kind of darkness. The abuse started quietly. At night, he would come into my room under the presence of checking on me. His voice, which once sounded kind, now carried a tone that made me shiver. I was scared, but I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know who to turn to, and part of me felt owed him for taking me in. So I stayed quiet, hoping it was just a one time thing, but it wasn't. Over time, the abuse became frequently, and the pain grew worse, physically and emotionally. The father, who the world saw as a holy man, was doing things that no one could believe. I felt trapped in his world, stuck in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. One day, he said something that shocked me. He told me I had something called his baby in my womb. At first, I didn't understand what he meant, but he insisted that it was a spiritual connection, a part of him that he had placed in me. The pain from this cold baby was unbearable. It felt like my body was being torn apart from the inside. It was worse than all the hunger and cold nights I had endured on the streets, but the physical pain was nothing compared to the emotional torment. I hated what he had done to me, but at the same time, I couldn't bring myself to leave. He had become the only family I knew. I felt like I couldn't survive without him. It was a twisted bond that didn't know how to break. As time went on, I realized I wasn't the only one. I caught him abusing other boys, children like me, who had nowhere else to go. They looked as scared and helpless as I felt. It broke my heart to see them suffer, knowing that I couldn't stop him. I felt like a coward for staying silent. But what could I do? Who believed me? He was a respected figure in the community, and I was just a boy with no family, no voice, no power. Every day I live with the pain and the memories. I feel like my body and soul have been scarred in many ways that may never heal. Sometimes I want to run away, but where would I go? The streets, I can't go back there. At least with him, I have a place to say, even though it comes at a terrible cost price. I don't know what the future holds for me. I dream of a day when I can escape this pain and find peace, but that day feels so far. For now, all I can do is survive one day at a time. To everyone listening to this, I want to say this. If you are in a situation like mine, don't stay silent. I know it's hard and I know it's scary, but speak out if you can. There are people out there who will listen and help, even if it feels like the whole world is against you. I'm sharing this story because I'm pain. I still remember the underground rituals. Over time, I began to notice strange things about the father and the people he surrounded himself with. He often had meetings late at night with other leaders from different churches. They would speak in hushed voices and disappear for hours. At first, I thought they were just discussing church matters, but soon I learned the truth was far darker than I could ever imagine. One night, he told me to follow him to a special gathering. I was hesitant, but I didn't dare disobeying him. He took me to a hidden underground place, a dark and cold space beneath the church. It was nothing like the holy and peaceful church I thought I knew. Candles lit the room, and strange symbols were drawn on the floor. I saw other church leaders, their priests, pastors, prophets, and even people who are highly respected in the community and country as a whole. They didn't act like people I thought they were. They performed rituals that were frightening and unsettling. They chanted in strange languages, and I could feel an evil presence in the air. They bowed before idols and statues that looked nothing like the God I had been taught about. These were not prayers to God, they were serving something else, something dark. The father told me to stay quiet and watch. He said this was how they gained their power, wealth, and influence. I saw them offer sacrifices, money, items, and even things that seemed like they came from innocent people. The leaders would drink strange liquids. They looked possessed, like they were no longer themselves. What shocked me the most was when the father revealed that he had been serving these dark gods for years. He said it was the source of his authority and the reason he had control over many lives, including mine. He told me the pain I felt, the so called baby in my womb, was part of this connection. It was something he had placed in me during the abuse to bind me to their rituals forever. I wanted to scream, to run, to escape, but I was frozen with fear. These were powerful men, and I was just a boy with no family and nowhere to go. The father warned me that if I ever tried to leave or tell anyone, the gods they served would find me and punish me in ways worse than death. These underground gatherings happen often. Each time I saw more horrifying things. They would discuss how to keep their congregations under control, how to manipulate people, to give them money, and how to maintain their public images as holy men. It was all a lie, a cover for the evil they were truly serving. I realized then that many of the churches I had looked up to were not just they seemed. These leaders were using their positions to save themselves and their dark gods while pretending to guide people toward light and salvation. It was a betrayal that cut deep, not just for me, but for everyone who trusted me. The more I saw, the more trapped I felt. I wanted to leave, to expose them, but I didn't know how. I was scared of what they would do to me and scared of the gods they served. I felt like I was part of something I couldn't escape, and the weight of it was crushing me. Even now, I wonder how many people are being deceived by these leaders, how many others are trapped in the same darkness I am in. The pain of knowing the truth and being unable to act is almost unbearable. But I hold on to the hope that one day I would find a way out. One day I will be free. If there's anyone who can help me, please help me. I'm still under their control. Now he is out of the country, and I feel it's the time I should expose everything, and I know by the time he's coming back, he's gonna kill me. Please help me. I'm in trouble. I am carrying this thing I don't know. Thank you so much, my brother, for sharing your story. To you, my brother, who shared this story, I want you to know that your life is precious and God has a purpose for you, even in the middle of your pain. You didn't choose this path, and none of what happened to you is your fault. The Bible tells us in Psalms chapter 34, verse 18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. God sees your tears and He knows your suffering. It's important to seek help. It's important to seek help even if it feels difficult or impossible. There are people, Christian organizations, and shelters that can protect you and provide a safe space. Pray for strength and guidance. Remember, God is always with you, even when you feel alone. He loves you, and His plan for your life is good, no matter how dark things seem now. In John chapter 10, verse 10, Jesus says, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Do not give up. Do not give up hope. God can turn your story into something beautiful. No matter how much pain you have faced, keep trusting Him and take one step at a time toward freedom and healing. God can can turn your story into something beautiful. No matter how much pain you have faced, keep trusting in Him and take one step at a time towards freedom and healing. To everyone listening, as Christians, we have a responsibility to care for orphans and vulnerable children. James chapter 1 verse 27 says, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is in this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress. If you see a child in need, do not ignore them. It's not enough to feel sorry for them. Take action. It's not enough to feel sorry for them. Take action. James chapter 1 verse 27. A religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress. Let's take action. Let's not just feel sorry for them. And ladies and gentlemen, these are ways so that we can help prevent children from going to the streets and protect orphans. Number one, protect, provide support for families. Many children end up on the streets because their families are struggling. If you know a family in need, help them with food, school fees, or emotional support. Small acts of kindness can make a big difference. Small acts of kindness can make a big difference. Many children end up on the streets because their families are struggling. If you know a family in need, help them with food, school fees, or emotional support. Another thing we need to do, adopt or foster. If we have the ability, consider adopting or fostering a child. Giving an orphan a loving home can change their life completely. Their life can be changed completely. Let's let us be kind to orphans. Let's treat orphans with love and respect. They need to feel valued and cared for. Show them that they are not alone. Let's show them that they are not alone. Let's teach your children to care. Teach your children to love and accept others, especially those who are different or in need. The kind word or gesture from a child can give an orphan hope. Teach your children to love and accept others, especially those who are different or in need. A kind word or gesture from a child can give an orphan hope, just like that. Let's support organizations that help orphans. There are many Christian organizations and charities that work to care for orphans and prevent children from going to the streets. Support them financially or volunteer your time. Support them financially or volunteer your time. Pray for orphans and vulnerable children. Prayer is powerful. Pray for God's protection over children who are at risk. Pray for families to open their hearts to care for them. Pray for families to open their hearts to care for them. Let's create safe communities. Churches and communities should have programs for orphans and street children, offering them food, education, and emotional support. Communities should have programs for orphans and street children, offering them food, education, and emotional support. Remember, Jesus himself loved and cared for the rejected and vulnerable. When we help orphans and street children, we are serving Christ. In Matthew chapter 25, verse 40, Jesus says, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Let us open our hearts and homes to these children and show them the love of God. No child deserves to feel unloved or unwanted. Together we can create a world where orphans don't have to suffer, and every child has a chance to live a happy, meaningful life. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. Until we meet again in other episodes. Bye for now.